Alright, if you've been playing Warhaven for a little bit, you may have been winning some matches or losing some matches. It depends on how you were doing that particular day. I get it. But sometimes it feels like you are losing every single match, and you can't figure out why.
Shot. Keyboard doesn't.
These are the 6 biggest mistakes that you can make when playing Warhaven that is costing you wins. Now, of course, every single match changes and is always different from the last, so keep that in mind. These are generalized mistakes that I noticed that I have made, as well as other players that I've either played with or played against, and I felt like this was a good way to push forward. So here we go. So the first one, and this is a mistake that I went ahead and made, is not actually using perks or not purchasing and equipping perks. Perks are little add-ons that you can build out your specific soldier to add in new flavors to your combat, such as the Warhammer's headbutt perk, which allows them to become unstoppable while they are going through that particular guard break. And basically the idea of this is these perks add in specific changes to your gameplay that make you a lot more, we'll say, either durable or offer a lot more damage or provide just these little effects that are just going to make your gameplay a little bit better. And again, they won't massively influence the outcome of a match. However, if you're down to the last enemy soldier and you go to swing with your empowered hammer smash, there's a good chance that you'll get the kill. If you didn't have that perk, then you may not actually get that. Now, there are tons of different perks and they do take a while to unlock. It costs about 500 of the perk points to unlock a single one, and across all of the available soldiers, it's going to take some time. So just keep going at it. I would suggest unlocking all of the perks on a character or a soldier that you enjoy playing the most. That's just always my suggestion. The next big thing that I would say is hampering your way to winning, and especially is on a smaller scale, is not timing your blocks. While yes, you can sit into a guard stance and constantly be blocking, however, every time you block like this, you end up taking a bit of trauma damage. And remember, trauma is the grayed out bar that will deplete your HP all the way to 1. And then anytime that you take real damage, such as a melee swing, or even as aforementioned, the headbutt from Warhammer, it'll cause you to take all of the built up trauma damage immediately. If you time your blocks, so as they are going through their swing, you can deflect the damage and not accrue any of the trauma damage. This will end up helping you win more 1v1s or smaller scale battles, is as they are going through their swing, you time your block as well as you can. And you'll get a notification of when you do. You'll see the little gold shield pop up indicating that it was a superior block. It takes timing, and of course it's not something easy that you can just pick up immediately, but don't just constantly sit into guard. Try to time your guards and blocks at the same time that they are swinging, and then you should be better. Speaking of combat, this is another one that's kind of made me mad, and I see players doing it, but jumping while in combat is not recommended. Please stop doing this. The reason being is that when you are jumping in the air as you were swinging or as you were blocking or what have you, you are now vulnerable from a different direction. True, however, you take massively more damage when you are in air and you get hit by an ability. This is very, very important, especially if you look at, for example, like Blade's Ox Slash, where he knocks targets up. The idea of this is to create a vulnerability so allies or himself can inflict tons of damage. And again, if you don't time your block right while you were in air, you could take massive damage just from that one ability. But if you are in combat and you are fighting an enemy, or perhaps you're trying to run away, do not jump. The jump offers a damage modifier that could definitely one-shot you if you're not careful. Just always pay attention. Don't keep your feet planted. The next one is not retreating. There are some times where you are in a match and yes, you may need to fully commit and stay with it and stay on the foothold to win the match, and I get that, and that's great. But a lot of the times it's better that you just step away, regroup with your allies, and move forward. And not all fights are going to be winnable, and sometimes fights become a lot more, we'll say, unwinnable if, say, for example, respawned enemies just appear. Take that time, run away, gather yourself, gather your team, allow yourself to heal a little bit, and reprioritize where you're going. The idea of you having to stay in combat until you go down or the enemy goes down will cost you a lot more deaths than need be. Stick with your team, do your best to retreat if the fight isn't one that you can win. Next is not using the relics. So as you are in combat, as you do better and you land more abilities and you get more kills, you will charge this over here, which is your relic bar. You will have a certain amount of relics that you can use to spawn in specific map-wide, we'll say, events, such as the respawn tent, such as the ice pack or the incendiary pack. And you'll find that as you are in your match, you will have quite a bit of these relics just sitting around. Use them strategically. For example, if you are on a Dominion match and you can get a foothold that's fairly close to a respawn tent, pop that respawn tent up and your allies can join in with you. There's a new point of attack for your allies. This creates an opening for you and your team. Highly, highly recommend. Pay attention to this one over here, which is the frost. I just call it the frost bomb. When you carry that over to a foothold, it instantly captures the foothold for your team, and then it also prevents any recapture for a short amount of time. It's about 30 seconds. And counter to that is the incendiary bomb, which once carried to the foothold, it will burn everything that is still standing there. This is excellent for clearing off a foothold, especially towards the end of a match. What's important to note here is that if you mix the fire and the ice, they will cancel each other out. So if the enemy put in an ice node, you can bring the fire node and completely cancel it out. And lastly, the big mistake that I really see a lot of players make is just not staying with your team. I understand everyone wants to be the hero and wants to do really cool effects and get play of the game and all that jazz. That's great. I'm happy that you are interested in that. However, it is not always best suited for you to run headlong into a group of 7 enemies just because you watched enough anime in your lifetime to think that you are the Son Goku. What's important to note here is that as you are moving forward with the match, sticking with your teammates and staying with them and analyzing almost every single moment of when you should engage and when you should disengage is going to greatly increase your chances of winning the match overall. Staying with your team is pivotal. This is a team game. Some matches, most matches, are 12 versus 12. It's infeasible for you to think that you will be able to take on the entire enemy team all by yourself. It's a team game. Play as a team. But if you do like playing more of like the assassin type character, I want to turn your attention here to this video talking about Hush and how she is criminally underrated as a soldier here in Warhaven. As always, stay caffeinated, folks.